What's up, sports fans, and welcome to the Sports Opinions podcast. I'm your host, as always, Alex Cuesta. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @A_Cuesta30. Find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30, Instagram SportsOpinions30, and visit the Facebook page. With me today is a former teammate of mine at Marist College. He ran cross country, and it's not really out of the realm of possibility to say that he was one of the standout distance runners of our team. The man, the myth, Tim Keegan. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Alex, how you doing? I'm excited to be here. This is the first time doing a podcast, and I'm really excited to be doing it. You could find me at Twitter. It's at Keegan, TAPAEGGAN. There's a long story behind that, but it's also the same. It's also the same for Instagram and Snapchat. All the same there.
Yeah, and Tim, it's kind of shocking that it's the first time he's done one of these because you're a wealth of knowledge in sports. You're one of the rare people. There was a few of us between like me, you. I know Zach likes sports a lot. Nick likes sports. Zach Smetana, Nick Webster. So it was like a little like core of us that always talk sports. And then Pete would chime in if it was baseball.
Yeah, I miss those days taking the van with Pete, and we would listen to like Mike Francesa or something. And he was a big baseball guy, but not so much on the other sports.
No, he's an unbelievable track and cross country coach, but he knows very little to nothing about running as a sport, which is really funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about that right away. So you ran in the New York City Marathon last year. So put this in the frame of reference. Tim, he was a distance runner, and I'm not talking, a lot of people think distance, they're like, oh, he ran the 2 mile. No, that's high school crap. He was a 10K runner on the track. He ran cross country collegiately. So it's basically 6+ miles each time for a race, just to keep it in layman's terms. And he was one of the best guys to do it. What's your PR in the 10K?
It was 30:51.
So yeah, for anyone that realizes just how friggin' fast that is, what is that over the 6 miles? What, close to like 5 minutes a mile?
Yes, 4:59. So it felt good to be just squeak under that 5-minute.
Exactly. So most people that are listening around like can't run a 6-minute mile. So that's just how fast Tim is. He's a beast. And so you ran in a marathon. So how was the transition from, number one, training for the distance that you were used to, and then actually experiencing it?
So I guess, I went through a long transition after college. So by the time I graduated, I had run a lot. And I think a lot of my peak performances are like my sophomore year. So I was a little frustrated with the sport when I graduated because I didn't quite hit the times I wanted to my junior and senior year. Like, I didn't run awful, but I didn't really progress as well as I wanted to. The last 2 years, I kind of plateaued and stayed the same. And that's kind of a bit of a frustrating thing about the sport of track and field. It's like sometimes like I would put in a lot more work in the summer, but like that didn't always yield results because like you have to train smart in addition to just running lots and lots of miles. So by the time I graduated, I was a little frustrated with the sport, and I took a lot of time off. I took probably 4 years off from the sport, didn't run, gained a lot of weight.
We all did, Tim. We all did. And I still haven't taken any of it off.
So I guess it was back in like the winter of 2016. Like I was very overweight. I was about 50 to 60 pounds more than what I had raced in college. And like I knew I was going to visit our friend Colin in Thailand for his wedding that June. And I was like, I'm going to be on the beach for 2 weeks. I look really fat. And I was like, this is time for me to get fit. So I signed up for the Brooklyn Half Marathon. And like it was a struggle at the beginning returning to running. I think that winter, like I had ran like all out pretty much. I ran 4 miles at like 7-minute pace. And I was like, I'm exhausted and it's embarrassing. I was very out of shape. But I kept with it. Like I was running 6 to 7 days a week. And I started doing like 5 miles a week in like January 6th and February 7th and March. And then I kept that through May. And I signed up to do Brooklyn Half Marathon. And in the back of my head, I was like, I knew what the New York City standard was, but I really didn't think I could hit it at the time. Like I did a training run in Central Park. I ran about 10 miles at like 6:14 pace. And to qualify for the marathon, you need to do a half marathon at like 6:10 pace. I think it's about 1:21 for the half marathon. But the day and a half, I felt really good. And I was going out like a little conservative, and they have these people at the sticks that like say like what pace you're running at. So I caught up to the people running 6-minute pace, like a couple of miles into the race, and I stuck with them for like a mile or so, but it just didn't feel right. It felt like I was just with them on the training run. I didn't feel like I was racing. So I passed them, and I felt great, and I ran like 3 minutes faster than I thought I could run that day. I ran 1:17, so that qualified me to run the New York City Marathon. So that's how I kind of got into the marathon. But then I guess I kind of got into a lull where like I was running on and off for a little while. And I think last summer, like I've been running on and off since then. And the last summer I was like, I need to start training more. But training for like a marathon is a whole different beast than like.
And being a real person really sucks, doesn't it? When you're just sitting there and it's like, all day you're like, yeah, I'm going to hit a nice 6-7 miler. And then you get home and it's like, got to bring my work home with me. I have to do this. I need to go food shopping. I got to do my laundry. And it's like, oh, it's nighttime. I'm not going out in the middle of the night to do 6 miles. It sucks.
It is so much tougher. Like because in college you have the structures. Like we have practice every day at 2:00. So like,
we're not real people in college. We were not real.
Yeah, that's true. But like you had that structure. So it's like you knew you had to run that day. And then even in the summer, like I didn't have much going on in the summer. So it's like I didn't have to like figure out squeezing runs. But like I don't know how, like Luke Shane, he runs like 100 miles a week still, and I'm like, I have no idea how this man fits in.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned him because the New York City Marathon's around the corner, and we're always represented really well. Luke Shane's definitely running it. I think Ryan Fitzsimmons is probably doing it because he runs.
Yeah, I saw him doing it. I read Pete's blog. I saw he's doing it. Kelly Gold's doing it.
I think a lot of the Fleet Feet people were doing it.
Yeah, my roommate Dan Pearls is actually doing it.
Wait, Pearls is doing it? What up, Pearls?
Yeah, a guy who's never run a step, and he actually did 18 today.
Well, he did PT for ROTC, so it's not like he hated it, but he did it.
He did some running, but he did 18 today, and he was complaining about that after. But I think for me, transitioning to the marathon and where I probably struggled the most on the race day was fitting in those long runs because, like, I felt I was able to, maybe fake it a little doing a half marathon. Like, I didn't need to get in a super long run. It wasn't like if you're hurting at mile 10 in a half marathon, you have 3 miles left. If you're hurting at mile 10 in the marathon, you have 16 miles left. So, like, I think your training needs to be more honest and, like, you need to have, like, a bigger block of training. So, like, I started training more seriously last summer, but I think in general, my 2 areas of weakness heading into the marathon was, like, I was maybe running, like, 50 miles a week. And my long runs, like, I ran 18 maybe a couple times. I touched 20 once, and I maybe ran over 15 like 2 or 3 other times after that. So I didn't have like a super huge chunk of like I know people who've run like 20 miles like 4 times leading up to the marathon, and like I really didn't have a super strong block of long runs. And there's a girl on the team, Shay Bohan.
Yeah, I know Shay really well. I coached her for like when I was there as an actual coach for those 2 years. She's one of my favorite athletes I ever coached.
Yeah, so her father was actually he started coaching at St. Anthony's right after I left.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's awesome. So I got to meet him like because I would come back and I did a few running camps with him. And we got beers with him after the marathon actually. And well, not after the marathon, after IC4As, we got beers across the street at that Turtle in the Hair place. That bar right across from Van Cortlandt.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I was telling him about my marathon experience. He was like, straight up, he was like, you didn't run enough. You need to be at least like 70 miles a week. You need the long runs in. So getting into the race, like my training probably wasn't where it needed to be, but I get to the starting line the morning of the race and it's like a crazy experience. It's like, there's so many people there, so many people doing it. And like it's funny in the sea of people doing it. Like I ran into Hild who was doing it. So like,
what a random person! Like to run into Billy Hild, like, but you can notice Billy out of a crowd. We've had Hild on the podcast, so people know who he is. Yeah. You can notice Billy out of a crowd.
Yeah, so it was funny because I came in, like I walked into the warm up area, and like he's the first person I spotted. I'm like, there's tens of thousands of people here, and he's like the first person who spots me.
So for you, just quick question. You've been an elite runner all throughout college, you were pretty damn elite. You were one of our rare guys that can jump and threaten the Iona guys in the 10K. Was it kind of tough to sit there and be put into the waves and it's like, okay, the elites go up, and like, did you try to like mentally, were you about to take a step forward and then you're like, crap?
Well, yeah, I guess
like,
they have it pretty structured. So like, when I signed up for the marathon, it's crazy. I don't know how they have this system where they do these times, because it makes no sense. So like, I did the half marathon at like 5:51 pace was my pace for the half marathon. So like, since I automatically qualified, I didn't get to put in a time. Like, I expect to run X. Like, if you get into the lottery, that's what you do. You seed yourself. But they seeded me. And what they did was they took my 5:51. They took 20 seconds off of it. So they made my marathon pace 5:31. So 20 seconds faster for twice the distance. Made no sense. Like, I don't know how
they assumed you were going to train.
Yeah, I guess. But so I was seated, like, they had the elite runners, and then they had they have 3 different starting areas, like, and everything merges. So like, I was in the front. I was supposed to be in the front area of like one of the other sections behind the elites. But what happened was, like, I had to go to the, like, you have to time the bathroom runs and stuff. So I hopped to the bathroom, and then like, they let everyone move forward, like, while I was in the freaking porta potty.
Well, that sucks.
So I come out, and there's like a bunch of people in front of me. I try to like get my way up a bit. I couldn't get that far. And what was annoying too was like, there was people like you knew like clearly didn't belong to be in the front. Like, they had definitely lied about their seat times. Like, they didn't deserve to be here. And like,
they just wanted to be in the good pictures right up front.
Yeah. I think that's what they want to be. Is like, the gun went off, and like, there are people like these people, and they just started walking right away. I was like, come on. Like, that's
just frustrating.
Yeah. And like, you're having to like get around these people. So like, my first mile of the race was like, it was slow. It was probably 8 minutes.
It was an obstacle course, basically?
Yeah, it was an obstacle course. And like, I knew I didn't want to kill myself. So like, I was going over the bridge. Like, you don't have all the fans there yet, because you have a ton of people around you, like a sea of people, but you don't have all the fans like cheering you on. So I come off the bridge. My first mile is like 8 minutes. And like, your second mile's on the bridge too. But like, I get off the bridge, and like, you come into like your first wave of people, and people are going nuts. And like, I'm wearing a Maris singlet, and people are like yelling out, "Go Maris, go Maris!" And like, you have such like, you're overcome with such like all this emotion.
I can imagine that's emotion. Yeah, a lot of it.
So I started clicking off miles faster than I should have. Like, I dropped down to like low 6s, and like, I never felt I really settled into my race. I kept passing people, and I kept getting caught up in like people. There's music, people cheering, and I ended up crossing the half marathon part at like 1:23. And my goal, my head was to be closer to 1:30. So like, and that's like 1:23 with my first mile being like 8 minutes plus. So it's like the next 12 I was moving pretty good. And it was definitely much faster than I wanted to be. And there were definitely points in there where I was like, Tim, like, you're going faster than you should have been. Tim, you're going faster than you should have been. But I was like, I'll figure it out. I'll be okay. And I didn't. So like, I think the first part where like, I was like, oh, it sucks, was like, you turn a little after like the half marathon point. You turn and you go over the Queensboro Bridge so it's like you go through Brooklyn to touch a little bit of Queens, and you go from Queens, that takes you into Manhattan. And obviously, so there's no people on this Queensboro Bridge. It's just you and like the other people, and like people are more spread out at this point. So all you hear, like, you go from hearing people all the time to all you're hearing is footsteps, and that's where that's the first time people started passing me by. And I came off the bridge, and that's when you go up First Avenue. And that's like, I knew my friends were going to be there, knew that's where my family wanted to be. But at this point, I'm hurting so bad. I'm like, I don't want to see them, because I'm like in the world of pain. Like, this wasn't what I was expecting. And like, I gutted out those like next couple miles. Like, they're definitely much slower. I went from like low 6 minute paces to like mid 7s. So I'm doing
everyone that I've ever talked to about marathons have told me that anywhere from like 13, from like half to like 16 to 18 are usually the toughest and the ones that you want to quit on.
Yeah, so I think it got worse. So like, yeah, so I went from like those low sixes or whatever to mid sevens, and I got it through that section because I knew like I had some people watching. I was like, I don't want to be walking through these sections. I don't want to be like. So I crossed through. I finished like first half, so it's like mile 18. I'm going into like mile 19, and that's where I'm like, this is awful. Like the thoughts are creeping through my head. I'm like, are you gonna finish this, Tim? And the rest of the race was like probably the most painful thing I've ever done. I was doing like, I had to do like, you have the water stops every mile. So I was pretty much like focusing on getting to the next water stops. And then I'd walk a bit at the water stops. I'd walk. And then each water stop that I would get to after like mile 19, I'd walk a little more and then jog. And it was really tough because like, I didn't go into the marathon thinking I would walk and I'd have those expectations and like
you probably being a runner your whole life thought like, I'd at least be able to jog through everything. If all else fails, I'll just kind of sit back, relax, get on my heels a little, jog a few miles, and then pick it back up.
Yeah, so I thought that, and then like I get into Central Park too, and I see Connor Shelley, and at that point I'm like also walking. He's like yelling at me to run, and I'm like, I am dead. And it's funny too because I see this other kid who I knew, Jimmy Hayden, and he was like, he ran cross country at Marist the year before I got there and quit the team, but I knew him because we were in the same league in high school.
Yeah.
And he had a similar race to me. Like I saw him early. He went out hard, and we're both walking together in Central Park. And this is not what I wanted to. And like Jimmy, when he saw Connor, he picked it up and yelled at me. So I started going again. And by the time I finished, like I was nowhere really close to what I had wanted to run. I ran like 3:18 or 3:19, and I was hoping to be like stuck under the 3-hour mark.
Yeah.
And after I finished, I was in a world of like pain. My legs like weren't functioning. And like the first medic like comes up to me and she's like, do you need help? And I'm like trying to be a tough guy. I'm like, no, I'll be fine. And like, it kind of sucks if you have experience running the New York City Marathon, like they get from the finish line to like the exit point where you can meet your family is like 3/4 of a mile. So you need to walk like a decent amount to meet up with people.
Wow.
So I guess they say they want to keep your legs moving so you don't cramp up or whatever. But like if you're in a lot of pain, like I was right there, that sucks. It's like having to walk. So like the first medic like passes me by. I'm like, I'll be like, I'm fine. I'm gonna be all right. And then I keep going, like maybe walk another 1/4 mile, and like I am not okay at this point. And like everyone, like most people aren't okay, but like the medics are like pointing me out and looking at me. So like I know like I am not okay because like I'm standing out. So like I tell this one person, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be honest, like my legs like aren't moving. I'm in a ton of pain. So they brought me to the medical tent after, and I told them, I'm like, my legs are shot, like I can't move them. I'm in a lot of pain. So like what they did first was they just took like ice bags and wrapped it around my quads, wrapped it around my calves. But like it was like an overcast and like chilly day, and it had been raining a little bit. So like I guess my body temperature is already a little cold at this point. So they put a bunch of ice bags on me, and that just dropped my temperature even more. So like I'm shivering at this point, and I'm hypothermic. So now like I go from like having bad legs to being like near hypothermic, and like so I'm like just adding to my problem. So they brought me inside, and it was like the greatest thing that ever happened. So like if anyone's listening and doing the marathon, I would suggest faking your way into the medical tent, because they gave me like a massage for the next half hour, and it was like the greatest massage I'll ever have in my entire life. And like I walked in the medical tent, and I was like, I'm a new man. And it was awesome because like I was supposed to meet up with friends and family after, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna stand, like I don't know how I'm gonna be able to see these people. And after the massage, I was like a new man. I was able to see these people. Like the next couple of days, I went back to my legs being awful and it sucking, but that was the marathon for you. I was like, during miles like 19 and 20, I was like, there's no way I'm ever doing anything like this again. But after the months passed, I was like, I want another shot because I don't want my one and only experience to be like this. I want it to be a little better. So
you're giving it another shot?
Well, yeah, we'll see. I think I'm gonna try to do what I had done previously, like try to get in the Brooklyn half in the spring and see if I get a qualifier. And if I get a qualifier, then I'll do it again. Or I might he's like, you can get in the lotto, and like if you don't get picked, you don't lose anything. So like I might try the lot. I might try that too. We'll see. Yeah, I plan on doing it at some point. I don't have like a definitive date. Like I want to do it in 2020 or something. Like definite. But yeah, I definitely want to do it probably within the next 5 years, I'd say.
So with that, and I've been trying, actually, I talked to Pete, and, it's funny when you talk about like your mileage and the training and stuff, all I heard was Pete talking, because he's brainwashed us so much about how to like train. It's just how we do it, and he's great at it. But I talked to Pete because I haven't taken a step of running in a long time, but I do want to get back into it. And I want to kind of, run a 5K, do a 10K, do a 10 mile, then do a half, and then see where I am from there.
Yeah.
That's kind of the game plan, but I got to start running first. And again, a daughter, family, I don't have that much time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the podcast, what we're doing right here, takes up a good amount of time. So it's like, it's tough, but I do eventually want to get there. So for anyone else listening that is thinking about running a marathon, just take Tim's extremely positive, uplifting, and no tragedy at all story, and just carry that with you when you're making that decision.
Yeah, just don't go out too hard. Just don't get caught up in it too much.
Yeah, and I think does it give you a newfound respect for like the elites that we always saw when we were there that could just drop like ridiculously fast times and then jog? It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, Germa did the same marathon I did, and I ran like 3:18, 3:19. He ran like 2:21, and I saw him at IC4. He's like,
Germa's a nut. He's so talented.
At like IC4. He's like 3 weeks after, and I was like, "How do you do that?" And he's like, "I don't know." I was like, "I thought I was going to die." He's like,
"That's a Germa answer." I don't know.
He's like, I kept thinking I was going to die, but it just never happened. I'm like, yeah, I kept thinking I was going to die, and it did happen, Germa.
Oh man! So quickly, let's. So hopefully we get into a new marathon for you. Good luck to all the running Red Foxes that will be there, and the extended family of Red Foxes that'll be there at the marathon. I think it's this weekend, right? Is that the marathon or next week?
No. First Sunday in November. So that'll be 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks from now. So it's taper time. It's big time. So have you been keeping up with Maris cross country, track and field at all?
A little bit. So I saw Pete a couple weeks ago, and he gave me an overview. And I keep up with the blog from here and there. So I think that's my extent. He's like, obviously we're both pretty far removed from school. So like the first couple years after you graduate, you still know people on the team. But so I know no one personally, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard talking to Pete is that like the women's team now is like absolutely killing it, where like when I was in school, they weren't at that level that they currently are now. So I think that's a real testament to where Chuck's got the program. So that's a real big positive. And Pete told me the team's working hard, maybe not quite at the level of where the team was when I was there, but it's a tougher landscape, like he was saying, because you have two new teams. You have Monmouth, who has a lot of resources. Actually, more than that, you have Monmouth and Quinnipiac in the conference, but then you have teams who were in the conference when I was there, like Siena, who didn't have cross-country, and now they have cross-country. So
Pete has one of my favorite lines when it comes to Monmouth and Quinnipiac. Whenever they win anything, he just turned – and this is when I was coaching. So I have a weird dynamic because this group of seniors is basically – the last group that I was like close with in terms of coaching. So I do know a lot of the athletes still on the team. Mm-hmm. It's funny though, but Pete would always turn to me if Quinnipiac or Monmouth won anything in the conference, which they do basically win everything in the conference all the time. Turn and look at me and go, who invited them? That's all in Pete fashion. Who invited them?
I guess they have like decent facilities for like some of the more revenue generating sports like basketball. I mean, Monmouth was filthy at basketball those couple of years when they had
the great bench crew were there.
Yeah, the bench crew and that short point guard like Justin Robinson, I think they were good.
Yeah.
I actually looked at Quinnipiac as one of the schools that I was applying to, but the team was super weird, and then they gave me a deal, and they offered me a scholarship in November, and they're like, you need to decide in 2 weeks we're going to pull that scholarship. And I was like, I haven't looked at any other schools. Like, how could you expect me to decide? Like, so I was like,
what is that? That's not good recruiting.
Yeah, that, and then like my recruiting visit, like they gave me to this one kid, and I went to this like like suite where there's like a few kids on the team who live. And all they did was play World of Warcraft. Like all 5 people were just on their computers playing World of Warcraft, and they sat me down with a movie, and I was like, "This is how you entertain recruits? Like, I'm not having that fun of a time here, just by myself doing nothing."
And don't get me wrong, we were weird at Marist, but we weren't that weird.
Yeah. Like I had a much better time I had a great time on my recruiting trip. I won't get into too much details in case he's listening and don't say anything bad happened there, but I had fun at my recruiting.
Well, my recruiting visit was with Vest, so that's really all you need to know about that.
Mine was I'd used all my official visits before I got to Marist. So I had a visit unofficially, and it was that last chance track meet in winter track was the weekend I visited.
Yeah.
And Lobby kept begging me to go visit him because like we went to high school together.
Yep.
So
Lombi, he's the man.
Yeah, so I stayed with Lombi.
Oh Jesus.
Not many other people from the team. So like you could expect it wasn't the type of visit that Pete would want recruits to have.
Yeah, we won't talk about that much because Pete still gets fiery about this crap all this years later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to jump into the meat and potatoes of the podcast now. We were really throwing around because normally what I like to do is kind of give the guest a chance to talk about what they think they're strong on or whatever, and then we run from it from there. But I know you know basketball, so I threw around, why not we just do kind of an NBA rank of our own? Everyone else has them. I know it's a little late. A few games have been played. The Nets and Knicks are currently playing again right now. Hopefully the Nets kick their ass. But we're – and also me and you are both Nets fans. We have a real objective opinion because we haven't seen good basketball in a real long time. So we've been able to pay attention to everybody else.
Yes, that is very, very true.
So the way we're going to do it, you suggested it. It's perfect. We're going to basically go 10 by 10. Because we don't want to waste too much time. I know other places are just like, we're going to go through every single pick, and I think that's ridiculous. We're going to go basically 10 by 10. We're going to talk about our discrepancies there, and we'll kind of run from there and take it from there. We don't want to spend too much time, especially on the bottom, but we'll get to where we need to go. So do you want to go with basically start talking about your bottom group first?
Yeah, I could start talking about my bottom group. So, the cellar dwellers that I have are the Hawks, and they looked pretty god-awful in their first game against the Knicks.
Yeah, we agree on that. With Knicks fans celebrating beating the worst team in basketball, it's always great to see that.
Yeah, so they've had like quite the fall from grace because they won like 60 games like 3 years ago. I mean, that was like one of the years the Nets had the pick swaps with them, and like the Nets had to go all the way back to the end of the freaking draft with just the Nets luck, and then like I was like, and then they've fallen apart since then. Like I like they have a couple. I feel like they have a couple good like rookies or like young players. Like they have Trae Young who might be okay. Like he's so fun to watch in college. Like John Collins was all right last year, and then I have like my favorite, like maybe my favorite player of all time on their team, Vince Carter.
Vinsanity.
Yeah, so I think it's good that they do have a few vets. Like they have Vince Carter, they have Jeremy Lin. So like I think it's good to have vets and young players mixed together. So
but they're bad. They're bad. They're not a good team.
They're not good. This second worst might be some bias on my opinion. I do have the Knicks as second to worst.
Well, we got to take into consideration they're without their superstar, so I think it's fair. Kristaps Porzingis, bona fide superstar. If he's there, they're a middle of the wrong team, possibly battling for an 8 seed because he's that damn good.
Yeah, so I have some stats too on that. So I have last year with Porzingis, they were 22-26, and they were 7-27 without him. So they were really, really bad without Porzingis. And I think they don't rush him back this year because, like, why are you going to rush him back in the middle of the year when you're not making the playoffs?
The only thing I hear is that they say that they should kind of try and rush him back just because if he can play again and he plays well, it'll attract other free agents because Knicks fans and Knicks media is delusional thinking that every free agent possible is going to come to them just because they're the Knicks.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you got to get Porzingis back because if he plays well, Kyrie will definitely come. And it's like, Kyrie's not coming.
Yeah, I don't think Kyrie's coming.
Kevin Durant's not coming. Like, they're not coming.
Yeah, I think like your best bet's like a Jimmy Butler type, maybe.
And I don't think Butler's coming. I really don't. I
Yeah.
think, I'm not a big fan of – I don't think anybody's coming. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think they just need to continue with Porzingis, hope that Knox is good, and just continue the homegrown route and build around those guys.
Yeah, no, I think like maybe like in free agency, like you definitely pursue them, but I think where they've always struggled in the past is like offering a ton of like draft picks for like these Asian guys. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, so like I think like what you're not going to lose that much offering someone like a big contract in the summer, but like offering your draft picks and not being able to pick people in the future is like a big problem. So
Well, yeah, we can't talk about that being Nets fans.
yeah, so yeah. So I think after that, I have like an even more dumpster fire of a franchise, the Kings. Like,
But I really like Marvin Bagley. I really like him.
Yeah, I think he'll be good. And they have some other people who are like pretty good. Like they have the other Bogdanovich that we didn't have in Brooklyn. Bogdan's like he's pretty.
He broke the rim. They had to readjust the rim on the first game. It was pretty ridiculous. Bogdan was just a freak.
Yeah, they have Fox from like Kentucky, who's like a speedster. Who's like he had a good rookie year last year, and then Buddy
Jackson is there.
Yeah, so they have like decent players, but I feel like I don't know what it is. Like the culture, something about that team. Like they haven't made the playoffs in like 15 years. Like they could just never put things together. And I think like I think they have some of the problems like the Nets had when Prokhorov first took over. Is like they have their own owner over there who keeps like meddling with things and like getting involved in like front office decisions where it shouldn't be.
They haven't been able to get it right. They haven't been good since the Mike Bibby, Doug Christie, Vlade Divac era. And that was when they were battling it out with the friggin' Lakers and they were robbed of a finals opportunity because they weren't the Lakers.
Yeah, the ref gate.
Yep.
Yep.
So that's where they are. But, yeah, the Kings are just a dysfunctional franchise. They really are.
Yeah, they're diffunctional, but they do have some young talent, so maybe things will get on the upswing soon. So,
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So after I have the Magic, who I guess are also pretty dysfunctional because I thought they'd be heading on the right track after trading Dwight, but they really haven't. They really haven't got things together. Like they got Vukovic in that trade, and like he looked good at first. But then
they make me sad because I really like Evan Fournier and Aaron Gordon. I think they're both really good players, and they are just sitting there floundering in that franchise.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like they keep like kicking the tires on some of these like draft picks. Like they've been picking the top 10 for a lot recently, and like even the past 2 years, like you drafted like 2 7-footers in the top 7 back to back. Like you had Jonathan Isaac, Mo Bamba, and like I don't know, like that seems like a little against like where the league is heading to play. Like if you go like with 2 7-footers in back to back drafts and top 7 picks, like you want them to probably play together, but like the Twin Tower, like David Robinson, Tim Duncan era, where like you have 2 super big guys next to each other, like isn't as prevalent in the NBA.
That's gone.
Where there's a lot more small ball. So, I mean, I really don't know what they're going with, and like you have these great big men these big men that you invested in, and like you start in point guard DJ Augustine, so you don't have like a really good like distributor, a really good point guard to get them the ball and like places to succeed. So like not really high on the Magic at all.
Not at all.
So after that I have the Hornets. So
this surprises me because I like the Hornets.
Yeah, my thing is I think they might cash out on Kemba this year because like there's always been rumors that they might trade Kemba, and he's an unrestricted free agent now at the end of the season. So I think like if things don't go that well, that they could trade him, and I just think like you have a couple good defenders. You have like Kid Gilchrist, you have Batum, but I don't think you have like another real big like scorer next to Kemba. Like you have like Marvin Williams, Cody Zeller. Like you don't have like.
Well, they just picked Miles Bridges. They have Devontae Graham, so they did pick 2 good rookies.
Yeah, but I don't know if they'll be there quite yet. And I just like, especially with like where Kemba is, like I if you're Kemba Walker, do you want to re-sign with the Hornets?
Yeah, probably not.
And if you are the Hornets, do you want to invest? Do you want to give him a Mike Conley type $30 million contract? So I don't know. I feel like they're in a weird crossroads. They do, I guess, have good rookies that you mentioned. I do think Dwight Howard was a bit of a locker room cancer last year, but he also gave them a double-double each game. He was 16 and 13. So I think.
See, you talk about Kemba. Kemba's a guy I could see going to New York. I could see him being a Knick, no problem. That's a great fit.
Yeah, he's a local guy too. So
that'd be such a good fit for the Knicks. They would have to trade some of their youth, but I would love Kemba. And I'm not a Knicks guy, but you know what? Just looking at it objectively, he would work so well with Porzingis. And if Kevin Knox is the player we think he is, putting Kemba right there in the middle of all of them to run the offense would just be ideal.
Yeah, I could see that happening too.
All right, so who you rolling with next?
Yeah, so next I got the Bulls. So I actually think the Bulls are in a better position than I thought they'd be after trading Jimmy Butler. I did not like that trade at all at the time. I like Chris Dunn at Providence, but he had a really bad rookie year, and I was I wasn't high on him. And then you gave up another draft pick, and I was but now they look a lot better than the Timberwolves, who have Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler isn't happy there. So, Chris Dunn had a good year last year, a good sophomore year. They got Lauri Markkanen in that trade, and Lauri had a great rookie year. So
he was awesome.
You have those two. You drafted Wendell Carter this year, so you have three decent building blocks. So I think there is some positive momentum in that franchise. They have some young players that they build around. I just don't think they're that close to being there right now.
Now, your next one actually surprised me. It really did.
So Pistons. So I definitely have them much lower than most people because they have.
Everyone is having them as the 8 seed. They're locking them in as the 8 seed in the East, most people.
Yeah. So, they have Blake Griffin. So he's probably much better than anyone I have in this area of teams that I just mentioned, assuming Porzingis is hurt, and not playing. But I really don't love that much outside of Blake. They have Drummond. I'm not as high on Drummond as other people are. He's obviously an absolute animal on the board. I just think he's pretty limited offensively. And, I don't love Brandon Jennings as a point guard. I typically like point guards that are more guys who could run an offense, pass-first point guards, system point guards. And I think, Brandon Jennings is more of a gunner, looks for his, own shot a lot. He's, just more of a score-first player than, a pass-first player.
Yeah.
I don't really – personally, I don't really like those type of point guards. I like distributors, floor generals, even Spencer Dinwiddie on the Nets last year, he knew how to run an offense. And then I just don't love their wing rotation that much. So, they have a great front court with Griffin and Drummond. I just really don't like the team that much outside of them. So,
yeah, I agree.
So that's, I'm looking at rankings, this is definitely much lower than other people, but I personally don't really like them that much.
That's fine. All right, so who are you going on to next there?
So next I have the Cleveland Cavs. So obviously they're taking a step back now that LeBron's gone, but
they just lost the best player on the planet. They're fine.
Yeah. So I don't think they'll be as bad as when he left Cleveland the first time. When he left the first time, they're god awful. At least they have Kevin Love still there, and
they're a much better team when he left now than when they were then. They're still a basketball team. They're not this collegiate group of misfits that they were when he left, basically.
Yeah, and I think Kevin Love is still a really good player, and I think he oftentimes got a lot more flack than he deserved.
Oh yeah,
because I think it's what happened with Bosh when he went to Miami. Is if you're that power forward who is used to being pretty ball dominant, used to having offense around to them, you have to adjust your game to play with LeBron. And
I think a lot more people respected Bosh. It was a weird dynamic because I feel a lot more people still respected Chris Bosh in his role, where Kevin Love was the complete opposite. Nobody respected Kevin Love.
Yeah, and I think he was better than people gave him credit for.
Without a doubt. I like Kevin Love.
Even that play where they won the NBA Finals. Like he was he's not a defender, but he's the one who like was guarding Curry when he missed that three. He's I don't know, and like even the year before he went to Cleveland, the Timberwolves won 40 games, and then he left to Cleveland, and the Timberwolves added like the rookie of the year. They added Wiggins, and they won 16 games that year. Like I think he makes an impact on the team. Like I don't think he's gonna carry the Cavs to the playoffs. I don't think they're a playoff team, but I think he's still a very solid player. I think George Hill could run an offense. I don't think he's like a top tier. He's not like
he's just old.
He's not in the upper half of point guards, but I think he's a reliable point guard. He's better than like a couple of point guards I mentioned before this. But
yeah.
And then like maybe Tristan Thompson and his big salary could give you something more. Like,
I'm done with Tristan Thompson. I'm done with him. Honestly, LeBron James should be the most angry at Tristan Thompson because Tristan Thompson made him look bad and he robbed the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I know.
They could have given that money to people that could actually play basketball still.
LeBron got a lot of people paid. You got him paid. You got JR paid.
Hey, love JR. He's from right where I am. Love JR Smith. That's my man.
Well, I think JR. I don't think there was as big of a market for JR when he was a free agent, but LeBron had his pony, got him paid. But I think there's something there, like more than what was there like when he left the first time. So I don't think they're a playoff team. I don't think they're like a bottom 5 team. I think they're middling.
I forget. He had some awful player. Marvin Williams, was that his second best player? And Gibson. I think those were his 2 guards that were with him there, and they were awful.
Yeah, Mo Williams.
Mo Williams, and then I think not Taj Gibson, but there was another guy who was like a guard.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I'm forgetting him. And then they had like the older people that like were past their prime, like they had like Antoine Jameson one year, I think, and then
it was ugly. It wasn't good.
It wasn't. I think that is probably some of the most impressive stuff of LeBron's career. Like bringing that cast of characters to the finals is like unbelievable. Like,
he's Superman. He really is Superman.
They just were not good.
No.
So I can move on to the next team. So I have the Suns, which is probably higher than most people have, because some people have them in the bottom 5. And I think there are things to like about the Suns. Like I am pretty big on Devin Booker. I think he's a really good player. He was really good in their first game. Like I think he scored 30 plus against the Mavs in their first game. So I think he is like a cornerstone type player. And then like you obviously got the top player in the draft, Aiden, like who everyone had rated number 1.
Devin Booker has that Kobe in him. He really does. He has that Kobe scorer's instinct about him.
Yeah, he does have like a scorer's mentality and like And then like you have Josh Jackson from a year ago.
Yep.
So like he looked all right last game. And I think Ariza is an underrated player. Like he played a decent role in Houston, and I think he's like a good vet for some of those wing players there. Like
they just signed Jamal Crawford, who is the 6th man of the year every year.
Yeah. So they have some stuff, like they have a good mix of vets. They have a few like really young, talented players. So I think there is some stuff to like about them. So I guess we can move on to the next. Yeah,
next pick, and that'll round out your top 10. Or bottom
I'll
10.
round out my top 10. So that'll be the Mavericks. So
they're not very good.
They're not going to be really good, but I think they have to be happy that they drafted like Luka Doncic. So like they have their new Euro to replace Dirk, like probably at the end of this year or whenever Dirk hangs it up, like probably the end of this year.
Probably the end of this year, yeah.
And then I do like Dennis Smith. I maybe stupidly, I guess last time I placed $100 bet on him to win Rookie of the Year. That did not come that close to placing because he was nowhere near Ben Simmons.
So just a quick update, though. Nets are leading the Knicks 33-24 at the end of the first quarter. So there's that to be happy about.
Yes. So yeah. So I was like, once the Knicks passed on Dennis Smith last year, I was like, all right, the Knicks passed on him. Every player the Knicks passed on ends up being really good. So I was like, I'm gonna place a bet on him to win Rookie of the Year. But Ben Simmons is a freak, so that did not happen. And Donovan Mitchell is a
Ben
freak.
Simmons wasn't a rookie. I will take that to my grave.
Yeah, but even Donovan Mitchell would have
Monster. Donovan Mitchell's insane.
yeah, he would have ran away with that. So
Yeah.
and then I don't know, they're all right. They have I don't know, they have decent, not great players. I'm not super high on DeAndre Jordan. I think Chris Paul helped make him better than he was.
He's an A- Tyson Chandler. He really is.
Yeah. I see that comparison. And then Harrison Barnes, all right, but I don't love that team. So that's
I'm right with you there. My bottom group is pretty damn similar to yours. Sitting at my number 30, I have the Hawks. Very similar comparisons. Taurean Prince is nice. Jeremy Lin, if he's healthy, is okay.
yeah, that's a big gift.
I'm not the guy that's super high on Trae Young because I think everyone's anointing him the next Steph Curry, where there's only one Steph Curry.
Yeah, he was so good to start the year last year in college, but then in Big 12
carry a lot of load. He had to carry a huge load. Oklahoma was a bad basketball team, and Trae Young was just really good. So I give that to him. But you just look at this roster. This roster doesn't have much going for it.
Yeah, I agree.
So Atlanta Hawks at my 30, sitting at 29. You talked about them. The Kings. I have the Kings as well. As much as I like Marvin Bagley, I like Justin Jackson. I don't like Buddy Hield. I think Buddy Hield's awful. I think Amon Shumpert's pretty bad. He's a good defender. That's about it. Willie Cauley-Stein has never turned into anything good. He's only in his third year, but I still don't believe in him. I like De'Aaron Fox, but there's not enough to like about that team. So I agree with you. They're sitting there at 29. The Knickerbockers at 28 for everything we talked about, much to the chagrin of a lot of New York fans. They're on the right path. They're pretty good. Ron Baker is the great white hope, but they're still not great.
Yeah.
Sitting at 27, I have the Magic down there too. Like we talked about, I like Aaron Gordon, I like Fournier, but the rest of the team doesn't have too much going for it. They're not heading in a great direction. 26, I had the Bulls. Again, we talked about them. I like the Jabari Parker and Zach LaVine pickup. If Zach LaVine's healthy, he's a really, really, really good player, not just a dunker. Yeah. Jabari can come into his own. I like Archie Diacono. He's a gritty kid. But again, not enough on this roster to really get me to believe.
I'm a big fan of the Arch. He was great at Villanova.
And Nova, yeah, he's a big part of that championship.
Yeah, he had to pass the Jenkins.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like this. That's another one we talked. I don't think so. Did you have – this is where we make a little bit of a difference. I have the Grizzlies at 25.
Yeah, I have them at 20, so yeah.
Yeah, you have them a little bit higher, not much. But I just look at it. I like Mike Conley. I really do. Yeah. I like Marcus Gasol, but they're both getting old.
They're are.
Not in their prime. They have some other nice guys. They have Andrew Harrison, who never has lived up to his billing. Chandler Parsons is always hurt.
Yes, he is.
JaMychal Green I like. I wanted the Nets to get JaMychal Green. They didn't. I like JaMychal Green. Marshawn Brooks is on that team. We know a lot about Marshawn.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson's
he played all right, I think, in preseason. He had a couple of games, but he doesn't play defense and doesn't pass the ball.
And he has the most untimely turnovers ever. They have Jaren Jackson Jr., who I like. They picked up Yuta Watanabe, who is the first ever Japanese player to ever play in the NBA, which is pretty damn cool. Yeah. But just again, this is another team where I don't like how old their top-level talent is and how injury-prone their top-level talent is.
Yeah, I don't know what their direction is either, I feel like. You have Marcus, so you have I don't know. I feel like they should have traded Marcus Gasol one of these years. He's
absolutely
running away.
Yeah, and it's and it's sad because the Grindhouse is a great venue. They're similar to the Seattle 12th man in football, where the Grindhouse is intimidating. They won playoff games just off the fact that teams were scared for the first half of the game to even do anything.
Yeah, and I think Penny Hardaway at the University of Memphis is going to get that place rocking in college.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough because I like the Grizzlies. I like what they've always brought. I thought they were a tough team, but I just don't like this roster enough to put them any higher.
The old Grizzlies were fun when they had like Tony Allen and like they were just
Debo and
gritty.
stuff. Yeah.
They were a gritty team, like that would get in your faces on defense and like an
They
old
were so much fun.
flashback team. Yeah.
So 24, you had them in your bottom group. You had the Cavaliers. A lot of things we talked about. Their upgrade. They picked up Colin Sexton. I have no idea what he's going to be. He was a score first guy at Bama. Don't know if he's going to translate well to the NBA. That's yet to be seen. But I don't think they're a borderline playoff team like a lot of I've heard some people say. I like Kevin Love, but I don't believe in this team.
Yeah.
Sitting at 23, we're both similar on the Suns. You have them a little bit higher than I do, but I'm the same
I
one.
had 22, so close. Yeah.
Yeah, we're right there. Love Devin Booker. I think he's awesome. DeAndre Ayton, I'm a University of Arizona fan, so he put a bad taste in my mouth because he did not show up in the tournament. Kind of pissed at him.
And they had the whole scandal, too.
Yeah, I like Mikal Bridges. I like Josh Jackson. But again, another team that just doesn't have enough for me to put them too high. We disagree on this. You have our Brooklyn Nets a little bit higher.
Yes.
I kind of looked at it, and I really worked my ass off to take my bias of seeing this team play 82 games a year and knowing what they can be as opposed to what they are.
Yeah.
So I have them sitting at 22 because I think that at their peak, if they're playing well and they're healthy, maybe win half their games and possibly fight for a playoff seed. We know a few things about the Nets. Number one, they never stay healthy. And number two, they don't have a guy that can win the game.
It is pretty remarkable that like they even started the season not that healthy. It was like Damari Carroll, I think, practiced Monday and then missed then had to go into surgery the next day and like missed the opener and then like
Alan Crabb's not healthy.
I think he's playing today, but yeah, he missed the opener.
Hollis Jefferson was hurt. Kenneth Reed wasn't there. It was a handful of guys that weren't playing.
And it's like game one. It's like you're not playing through the grind yet. But yeah, that is
So just with the Nets, my biggest thing is D'Angelo Russell hasn't become that superstar that they want him to be.
Yeah.
So there isn't a guy that's going to close out close games. They lost a lot of close games last year, and we know who Karis LeVert is. We know Spencer Dinwiddie, but nobody else does.
Yeah. And LeVert tried that against the Pistons in the home opener at the end of the game.
It didn't work. That's the thing. We needed
up trying to drive.
Yeah, we need a guy. We need a guy that can close it out, that can create his own shot, that can win a game, and we don't have that yet at the Nets.
Yes.
So that's why I have them down at 22. At 21, I have the Mavs. I agree with you. They're not a very good team. And that they're at the end of it. Luka Doncic, I don't know what he's going to be. He was a great Euro player. That means crap to me. I got to see what he's going to be. So they do have Kostas Antetokounmpo, which I believe is the brother of Giannis. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Hopefully some of those genes he has. That is some athlete.
So we're going to run through your middle group, and we might have to do it with a little bit of pace because I don't want to go super long here, Keegan.
All right.
So don't have to fly, but a little pace.
All right. I'll go a little quicker. So I have the Grizzlies here. I guess I'm not super high on them, but I just think that they might be a little more healthy this year. Connolly played 12 games last year. He might play more.
Okay.
And then Parsons, I thought, might play a little bit more. And, he wrote a big piece this summer about, getting better and everything. So I was just under the impression that they might be a little more healthy.
I think he's healthy.
So that's probably a lot of our reasons for our differences there.
Yeah.
After that, I have the Clippers. So I do like Tobias Harris. Shout out. He's a Long Island guy from Dix Hills.
There it is.
Yeah, I think he's a good offensive player, and then I think they have some good defenders like Avery Bradley, Pat Beverly, Baha Mute, but I don't think they have a real secondary scorer other than Tobias. I mean, they have Lou Williams off the bench, but I just don't think there's enough for them to make the playoffs. So after that, I have the Heat, so that they would be the 8th seed in the playoffs for me. And I think I like Joe Johnson a lot, so I followed the Heat closely when he got bought out and went there. And I really liked Josh Richardson and I liked Winslow when they're rookies there, but I don't think either one has progressed like I thought they would be. I thought they showed a lot of promise their rookie years, and I thought they'd be a lot better players today than they are. And I feel that way about a lot of people on on the Heat. Like, I thought I like Dragic a lot in Phoenix. I don't like him as much now.
Yeah.
I've been higher on Whiteside than I have been now. Currently, I wanted the Nets to sign Tyler Johnson. I don't really love him as much now. But I feel like none of these players are that bad. I just think they sneak into the playoffs, but I don't really love them. So then next I have the Nets. So I guess this is where I have them high. This is probably my homer pick. I'm probably not the most objective player here, but I love Jared Allen. I think he's going to be a great center, and I think he fits the modern NBA well. Like, he's a great defender, and you kind of want that at your 5 position. And then I like Caris LeVert, like we mentioned. He had a great first game. Like, he scored, I think, 27.
Yep.
And I think
career high.
Yeah, and I think I really believe in their coach Kenny Atkinson, player development guy. Like, he got Dinwiddie to be second in most improved voting last year. So I think they have, like, hopefully D'Angelo Russell bounces back, because you have, like, guys who could run the point. You have D'Angelo Russell. You have LeVert could even handle the ball at times. You have Dinwiddie.
This is D'Angelo Russell's last chance, because he's a free agent after this year.
He is a free agent, so like he needs to nut up or shut up.
Exactly.
And, like, they have guys who could stroke it. Like, you have Allen Crabbe, you have Joe Harris, you have guys who could shoot it, you have guys who could dribble, you have a good. They might not be there, but my gut, my fan thinks they put it together this year, so this might be a little bit of bias.
I'm saying Joe Harris isn't a Brooklyn Net by the trade deadline.
Yeah, I could see them getting value for him. Like,
see, I wrote a piece, I don't know if you read it, about the possibility of the Nets getting either Kuzma or Ingram from the Lakers, and firmly, because if anyone watched the Lakers' first game, they don't have a single guy that can make a three.
Yeah, I've always thought that was weird that they didn't pair LeBron with more shooters. Like, you picked up, like, Rondo, who's a good ball handler, but
Lance
can't
Stevenson.
shoot. And Lance Stevenson can't shoot. Like, I thought they would try to aim for more shooters.
So I'm thinking Joe Harris ends up somehow in a Lakers uniform, and we package him with somebody else, maybe a late pick or a protected pick at some point, and then Ingram or Kuzma come over, which would be fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I could see something. So my next one I have is the Wizards. And so I feel like the Wizards are kind of like the modern day, like, Joe Johnson, Al Horford Hawks, where, like, they're the same freaking team every year. Like, they make the playoffs. They might advance the second round, but, like, they don't really ever make the conference finals. But I think they have enough talent to, like, not miss the playoffs. Like, they did a couple years ago when Bradley Beal was, like, really hurt and, like, wasn't himself. But, like, if they're healthy, like, they're going to make the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to make it. I don't think they're going to make it to the second round, and I don't think there's a lot of, like, players who are like, oh, if they're going to pan out, they're going to take the next step. I think they just kind of are who they are at this point.
Yeah.
So next I have the Timberwolves. So I think they're going to miss the playoffs, but I think if you look at their starting 5, I think they are really talented. Like, you have Teague, Butler, Wiggins, Gibson, Towns. It's really talented. I think Towns is just missing it on defense. Like, you need a more defensive-minded center. And if he takes steps on defense, if he becomes, like, a lockdown defender at the 5, I think they will make the playoffs. I think that's one of their weaknesses right now, is because, like, you want in your modern-day center, like, a guy who could switch, a guy who could cover the pick and roll, and I think that's what's kind of missing there. And I think some of the locker room problems with Butler might spill over, and, like, the West is really
won't be there. He won't finish up there this year.
Yeah, I don't think he finished up there. I think the West is good too, so I don't see them making the playoffs. The next is the Blazers, who I think are the first team out in the West I have, and I think the West is really good, like, and much improved. Like, the Blazers were the 3 seed last year, but the West was kind of bunched in after the top 2. Like,
the West is the SEC. They're overrated.
The
West is overrated. They have a lot of stars. But I think the East has more complete teams.
I don't think I can agree with that point, and I'm also a SEC football guy. So.
SEC is the most overrated conference in football. It's not even.
I don't think you're going to get a lot of love from me on either one of those points. But I mean, obviously with the Blazers, like, Lillard and CJ McCollum are obviously a fantastic backcourt. I just think they haven't improved the team like they wanted to. Like, they gave out, like, stupid ass contracts. Like, you gave like the Evan Turner contract, and like they just haven't really added to that team that much. Like
Evan Turner won me a few championships on 2K, so you back up.
I'm sorry about that, but yeah, I don't really love that much on them outside of that. So this might be a bit of a bold thing. Like
Yeah, your next two are they scare me.
yeah. So I have the Thunder as the last team in the playoffs, the 13. So like I think this is probably much lower than people have them, and I know you were higher than them last year. And I watched your playoff prediction.
Yeah, that didn't end up well.
I know you were higher on the Thunder, but I'm a little nervous about Westbrook. He's missed these first 2 games with like hamstring issues, and
he had some sort of surgery in the offseason.
Yeah, and I think like a guy who's as like relies on his explosiveness, his athleticism, like you don't really want any like lower body injuries. Like that's a big concern. So that's a concern for me. And then like I mean, Paul George, you have to be ecstatic that he's back. Steven Adams is great, but I'm a little concerned about the health. Like I think that Westbrook might have some health issues this year, and then like I think there are some issues with the lineup. Like Andre Robertson, like he's an absolute lockdown defender, but the guy he can't provide anything on offense, and like defenses get sag off of him so much that like it makes everyone else's job on offense so much harder. So there are some areas on the team that I really don't like as much. So I'm probably lower on them than other people. So I guess I keep the ball rolling. Next, I have the Lakers, which I see is lower than you have too as well.
A lot lower, and this completely contrasts with me.
So, I mean, I do think LeBron will raise the talent of the team a lot. Like he always does that everywhere in his career. Like we talked about that earlier in the podcast. Like talk about all the crap players that he brought to the finals. But I do think there are some issues with the fits on the team. Like I mentioned earlier, like Rondo and Lance don't really seem like real guys that you want to pair with LeBron, because LeBron is like a great ball handler. LeBron's like one of the best passers in the NBA. He likes having the ball in his hands. And I think like you want shooters around him. Like that's why the Cavs picked up like Kyle Korver. That's why you get J.R. Smith. That's why you get guys who could space the floor. And I don't think at the moment they have guys who could space the floor, and I think they'll have some spacing issues. And I think, I don't know, LeBron, I read LeBron wants to play a lot of minutes and that he wants Luke Walton to play a lot of minutes, but I think like in the first game, he didn't, like last game, he didn't play a ton in the second half. I think
last year was crazy that he played all 82. That was insane.
That he played all 82 and he led the league in minutes at his age. Like I think
unnecessary.
I think they might like rein things in a little, because I think the focus is always going to be next year, because like next year there is a great free agency crop, and I feel like they're definitely going to pick up someone. Like, I don't know who it is right now. It might be like, you could shoot for the moon and get like an Anthony Davis, which would be fantastic. But you get like the Jimmy Butler, you could get someone next summer.
Yeah.
And I think that's always going to be the end game for them, is like getting that next best player. So I think I'm not probably as high as you can talk about them more, because
yeah, definitely not as high as me.
So rounding out this middle top 10 for me is the Bucks. So I guess I get
Freak.
Yeah, the Greek Freak. So yeah, I think like if we're talking about the MVP voting, I think the top 3 are going to be the Greek Freak, Anthony Davis, and LeBron. And I'm like really high. Like he keeps getting better and better. Like he's insane. Like I think he could take he could pull up at like half court, like take his 2 steps and like dunk. Like this guy is unbelievable. And I think they have like good defenders. Like you have Middleton, you have Brogdon on the wings, and I do like the Brook Lopez pickup.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Because I think he fits in well with them. Like on the Nets, like he was asked to do, and like even the Lakers, like last year, he's asked to do a lot more than he should on defense. Like he's not really a great defensive player, and like if you get into like pick and rolls and you get into other situations like where he's asked to do more on defense, it's a struggle. But like you have such great wing defenders, you have the Greek Freak.
Man, I miss Brook. I miss Lopez.
Yeah, and I think he won't need to do as much in defense. He won't be asked to do as much in defense. But he can score the ball, and like being able to score the ball on that team, I think will be a big thing for them. So I like them next year. So like that's
And he's willing to come off the bench at this point in his career too. He had no problem doing that in LA, which is awesome of him.
Yeah, he seems like he doesn't really have an ego, and that's one thing I've always liked about him and he really he had no reason to want to be in Brooklyn. Like
he never wanted to leave.
He never wanted to leave, and we weren't good with him, so I wouldn't blame him if he ever wanted to leave, but he was a very loyal player, and I respect that.
Absolutely. All right, so that was your middle 10. We're going to roll through my middle 10. Sitting at 20 for me, I have the Charlotte Hornets. I like the Hornets, but like you said, Kemba Walker is probably not the guy to lead you to the promised land. He's a good player. He's a star, I guess. People know his name, but he's not a superstar, and you need superstars in this league to really contend. And Frank Kaminsky is not a great supporting cast for him to score, so not high on them. 19, I'm with you with having the Clippers pretty damn low. I've heard a lot of people talking about how good the Clippers are going to be, and you look at their team, Avery Bradley, Mbute Mute, Danilo Gallinari, Lou Williams I love Lou Williams. He's going to have 20 plus a game off the bench again.
He's fun to watch.
He's awesome.
And Gallinari can't stay healthy. I feel like.
He can't. But again, Clippers, I agree with you on all your points about them, why they're so low.
Mm-hmm.
Next is the Pistons. You had them super low. I have them a little higher because I do like – I'm higher on Andre Drummond than you. I think 2020 is pretty damn valuable. Mm-hmm. I don't care what style he plays. And Griffin has expanded his game more. He's a pretty decent three-point shooter now, so he's not clogging up the bottom. So it's not a traditional Twin Tower style. You have him standing on the outside of the rim a lot. I like Reggie Jackson. I always have.
Yeah, I guess we're different there because I don't like him as much.
Yeah, I like Reggie. But, again, there's not much there, which is why they're at the bottom part of the middle group. I don't think they're a playoff team. I know everyone has kind of penciled them into 8, but I don't like them. And sitting at 17 for me, I have the T-Wolves. Again, I don't think Jimmy Butler is going to be there for that much longer. Definitely not beyond the trade deadline. So Wiggins, he's growing, but he hasn't shown enough to me. He was supposed to be the guy. That class was supposed to have 2 LeBron Jameses in them, and they were supposed to win championships, and never happened. Yeah. Karl Anthony Towns is a monster, but like you said, he doesn't play defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, go ahead.
Like Wiggins, I remember him being hyped before he got to Kansas, and I don't really remember people being hyped as much going into college as much as him. And I agree with that point that he hasn't really performed up to where I had thought he could.
They were hyping that draft with him and Jabari Parker as Carmelo LeBron round 2. That's exactly how they were hyping it, and neither of those guys have even sniffed the accomplishments of Carmelo Anthony, let alone LeBron James.
Yeah, I think going into Kansas, they were so high on him, the LeBron things. But then he had some games in Kansas where I was like, hey, I don't know about that. I think he was scoreless in the tournament game and stuff. And LeBron isn't going to go scoreless in the tournament game if he went to college.
Never. He's going to demand the ball because, you know what, though? He'll have 20, but he'll also have 23 assists. A bad game is 20 for LeBron, so then he assists a lot, and then he rebounds, and he does everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the T-Wolves at 17. I think they're going to be dysfunctional, even though they have talent.
Mm-hmm.
16, it makes me really sad to put them here, but I have the San Antonio Spurs sitting at 16. You have them much higher, but
I do.
And it was tough because I wanted to put them higher. I really, really did. I like DeMar DeRozan. But you lose a guy like Kawhi Leonard, and I'm going to talk more about Kawhi later, but when you lose a guy like Kawhi Leonard, you don't recover from that very well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Patty Mills as a starting point guard, you lost the leadership from Tony Parker there. LaMarcus Aldridge is really losing a step. Pau Gasol definitely lost a step. I'm not a fan of the makeup of this team. I feel like they're very old. I feel like they don't move. I feel like they're going to be ready to play every night. They're going to win a good amount of games, but I just don't like the makeup of this team, especially in the West.
All right.
So you'll talk more about them in a little bit.
Yeah.
Over at 15, I have the Miami Heat. I have them higher than you. I like this team. Like you said, everyone on this team has kind of performed worse than what they should have. But when you put them all together, they're the functional version of what the T-Wolves are. Where the T-Wolves have a bunch of underachievers who kind of hate each other. Mm-hmm. This is a bunch of underachievers that were like, you know what, whatever. We're just going to grind it out, and we're going to work together. Because Goran Dragic is the definition of a grinder.
Yes.
That's all he does. Hassan Whiteside's a little bit of an off-the-court issue, but he's a stud. I love Bam Adebayo. I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
James Johnson's a legitimate scorer, even though he's old. Deion Waiters has played well. Josh Richardson's good. They have talent. So I like this team. I think they're an outside playoff team. I really do. Yeah. I like the Heat. Next on my list, I have the Nuggets. You were higher on the Nuggets than I was. I don't see what the hype is about the Nuggets. I really don't. Not a big fan. I like Trey Lyles. He's good. Jamal Murray is to me. I'm not huge on him. Paul Millsap's old. They're good. Michael Porter Jr. is not going to play this year as much as I like him. I do love Nikola Jokic. Will Barton's a tough dude. Isaiah Thomas off the bench is good. They're a good team. I don't see them as a big-time playoff team.
All right.
13, I like the Washington Wizards a lot. I have them this low because, like you said, they are the underachievers where they have a ridiculous amount of talent, but it never comes to fruition. They are my sleeper team to play the Celtics eventually in the conference final, is the Wizards.
Really?
Just, the issue last year was that Porter, Oubre, and Gortat, neither of those three stepped up, and everyone thought they were going to take that next step.
Yeah, I was high on Porter. I wanted the Nets to get him.
Exactly. And you have to think that Porter and Oubre are going to play better. They're going to. They can't not play better. Markieff Morris is a very good player still. His brother's better than him, but he's a good scorer. Austin Rivers is an underrated guard off the bench. He's a good bench player. I love Bradley Beal. Absolutely love Bradley Beal. The guy's a bona fide stud. He's a borderline superstar in my eyes. Jeff Green is a rock off the bench. John Wall is a superstar, one of the best players in the game. And Dwight Howard is a significant upgrade over Marcin Gortat.
Yeah.
I like
that in when I was talking about Charlotte. I think Dwight is – I still think he could provide stuff for a team.
Yeah, he definitely can. So I'm pretty high on the Wizards. I placed them there just to kind of hedge my bet on them, but I easily think there could be a top 10 team if they put it all together.
Yeah.
All right, my number 12 is the Pacers. This is another team I struggled with because Victor Oladipo, for some reason, became an actual basketball player. He was always good, but Jesus, what he did last year was unbelievable.
I did not expect that at all.
No one did, and I'm surprised he didn't get tested for PEDs every single day.
I thought the Thunder got hosed. I mean, I thought the Pacers got hosed on that trade with the Thunder. I was like,
Yeah, I didn't know, but you couple him. Miles Turner is a pretty traditional big, but he's good. Thaddeus Young is still one of the best scoring power forwards in the game.
Yeah.
Domantas Sabonis is a talented center. Bojan Bogdanovic, we know what he could do, shooting the lights out of the ball. And they added Tyreek Evans and Buckets McDermott. So they have a good team, and I think they can make some noise. I have them sitting there at 12, but I like the Pacers. I think the Pacers are going to be a thorn in all the top teams in the East side, completely and totally.
Yeah, they were last year too.
Exactly. And rounding out my middle group, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. I love Anthony Davis. Love Anthony Davis. But what Rondo did for that team last year is not going to be replaced by a Drew Holiday, is not going to be replaced by any of the guards that they have. He was unbelievable. And I like the guys on this team. I like Etuan Moore. I do like Drew Holiday. But it's going to be Anthony Davis heroics and then everyone else basically. Who is he going to pass the ball to tonight? Because he had 8 assists. They're asking him to do more things. So he's going to have to score at least 25 a game to bring this team up, and he's going to do it. I like the Pelicans. There's a lot of good role players there. I just think that they're going to struggle when it gets down to the nitty-gritty like they did last year because it's Anthony Davis and everyone else. There is no second or third superstar, which they need to find.
All right.
So let's run through the top 10 here.
All right. So I'll run through my top 10. So I have the Pelicans 10, so that's probably not much of a difference from you having them at 11.
Yep.
I do like I think Julius Randle pickup might be all right. I think it changes.
He's a good player.
I think the change of scenery could help him, like playing alongside Anthony Davis might help him. And like I feel like when they had Boogie Cousins, he just really didn't fit with Anthony Davis. And like you have Julius Randle now, you have Mirotic off the bench, and I think those could be decent like forwards to pair with him, and like they could have a decent front court there. But I do think, like you said, that there really isn't like I love Anthony Davis just like you, and there ultimately isn't going to be enough around him to make them like true title contenders. And I think that's ultimately going to be like the problem with his tenure in New Orleans, like that you had this like stud, like this almost like generational talent in Anthony Davis, and like you can never like ended up putting a second star around him. Like
he could be a lot like Barkley, and Barkley's career ended up where he's an all-time great, but you know the chances will eventually be there. I think Davis will eventually play for a championship, but who knows if he'll win it because he has to be the guy that carries the supporting cast completely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was gonna say like to me it was similar. Barkley is a good example. And I think like Allen Iverson and Philly like that was with our old friend Billy King was GM there, and like he never got.
He actually didn't do an awful job for the 76ers.
I don't think he did great, but I think I think they just never really got a second star around Iverson. Like Mutombo was a good defender, but like you never really had like another like real solid all-star around him. And I think
no, not at all.
I think like that's going to be the ultimate problem with the Pelicans is like you're going to look back on this and like we never got a real second like strong all-star around him. Like you tried with Cousins, but like they never got like a good player that would work out with him. So that's on the Pelicans. So next I have the Pacers. That's a little higher than you. Like you said, like I love the old Depot, and then you have like the former Nets cast-offs. Like you have Bogdanovich and you have Thad Young. Well,
I'm okay with you having them that high. I could easily have put them that high. They're a really good team.
Yeah, and then you have I said that I think they liked that trade with the Thunder. Like they came out all right. Like the bonus looks good. Like top to bottom, like they don't have that many like super weaknesses in their lineup. So I kind of like them, and I was really impressed with them in the playoffs, like pushing the Cavs to the limit. Yeah. So I guess this next one is where we probably differed the most. And that's where I have the Spurs coming in, which is probably much higher than other people. And I think that's largely a testament to Pop, because I think Pop is the best coach in the league, in my opinion. And, like, last year was the first year since 2000 that they didn't win 50 games, which is, like, unbelievable. Which is unbelievable, in my opinion, because, like, the Knicks and Nets have only each.
But they still made the playoffs, and I think they have? Like they have almost like a 20-year. It's like something ridiculous streak of them making the playoffs. Yeah.
So like I feel like Kawhi really wasn't there last year, so you're adding DeRozan, but like I mean I think Kawhi is a better player than DeRozan, but like you really didn't have Kawhi last year, so I think adding him helps. I like Murray. I think he's a very good like lockdown defender, and like they do have aging players like. Gasol's aging. So I think where I think things are going to be different probably from you is that I think Pop has a tendency to develop like you have undiscovered talent that Pop will like cultivate and make better than they should be. Like Danny Green was like undrafted and he was like a real solid contributor for all those years. Like he couldn't stay in the league. You have, like, Jonathan Simmons, who was cut for the Nets.
Kyle Anderson's another guy that came out of nowhere.
Kyle Anderson, Jonathan Simmons, like, guys who, like, late draft picks, undrafted draft picks. And I think you might see that some with him this year. Like Bryn Forbes, undrafted guy, and I think I'm high on him, going to be a potential breakout player for me. And then I guess, I was higher on Aldridge than you probably are. And I think they have some guys off the bench who could still light it up and like Bellinelli type players.
So just before we're gonna stop at your top four, okay? Because we have the same exact four.
Okay.
So we're gonna stop there. So go get through your five, and then we'll go to the four together.
Okay. So I have sixth. I have the six. So I think this is just flipped from you. So I have the Sixers 6. So obviously I think I'm trusting the process. They're heading in the right direction. They have 2 superstars. You have Embiid, you have Simmons. I don't know if they're superstars right now, but I think they're going to be superstars if they're not right now. If you're a Sixers fan, though, you have to be kicking yourself with Fultz, because I thought Fultz might turn it around this season. Like, they showed videos of him like in the summer, and it looked like he was getting his form back by watching the first 2 games, and like his form is not back. And then you see Tatum lighting it up, and like you're like, damn it! Like, I traded back. I mean, I could have, the Celtics trade back with us, drafted Tatum, and they took another one of their picks, and Tatum's so good. And
when I see guys putting up a whole bunch of videos, I get scared even more. Who are they trying to prove it to? You or themselves?
yeah, that is true. Yeah. So, yeah. And I think there's part like Wilson Chandler they got in offseason. I think he's like real solid bench guy. But I do think I like the end of the season when they had Ilya Silva and Bellinelli, who they lost. I thought they were great like spark plugs off the bench that they're gonna miss. And I think that like if they get like a Jimmy Butler, if they're able to get someone like that this season, then I could see them being a real title contender. But I think they're missing a piece like that. And if they can get a piece like that, they can trade for Jimmy Butler or someone like that, then I think they can be real title contenders. So 5, I have the Jazz, and I think they were like super, super pleasant surprise last year. Like, everyone, I guess, thought after Gordon Hayward, the face of their franchise, left, that things would go south. But
yeah, who thought Donovan Mitchell was going to be the player he was?
Yeah, no one thought it. Yeah, like people might have been high on him, but like I think no one thought he was going to be the player he was. Like, he was awesome in the playoffs. Like, he was taking over games against the Thunder. Like, wow, the Thunder are like legitimate superstars last year, and he was like dominating some games as a rookie. And like I was like blown away by him. And then like you have defensive player of the year and Gobert, and like the pieces on their team seem to fit like really well. And I really like what they've been able to put together after losing Hayward. And I don't think they're like, we have the same top 4, and I don't think they're in the title contenders. I think the top 4 are like more the title contenders, and I don't think the Jazz are quite there, but I really like what they have.
Yeah, I think that if they find any of the title contenders sleeping, they could shock the world in a game 7. They definitely have that type of skill. So, okay, that you're up to the 4. So we're going to go through my basically 10 through 5. Sitting at 10 for me, I obviously was much higher on the Portland Trailblazers than you are. I really like Damian Lillard. I think Damian Lillard's an absolute superstar. And last year when he got pissed when people weren't talking about him as being one of the top point guards, he turned it on and had like 7 straight 30-plus point games, a few 40-point games, a 50-point game. Like, so he just was crazy.
It's tough for us Net fans.
Oh, my God. It makes me cry all the time. But CJ McCollum, I like really good. I feel like Lillard and McCollum are like a better version of Wall and Beal in the West.
Definitely.
Evan Turner, they are kicking themselves a little, but he does make plays for this team. I like Myers Leonard. I think he's an underrated center forward. He has some skill.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like the rest of the makeup of this team. Did you see Nick Stauskas going off? Did you watch part of the game last night?
No, I didn't. I didn't stay up that late, and I was watching like.
Oh my God!
I was watching the baseball and some other stuff, so I didn't really catch any of that.
So you know, Nick Stauskas last year at certain times for the Nets would just turn it on and carry the team for like 2 quarters.
Yes,
he did that. He went insane. He was making like 30-point threes, driving in. It was crazy, and he really fits in on this team because on the Nets there was always the pressure to produce, always the pressure to score. Because if I wasn't producing that night, there's a chance no one else does.
Yeah.
On the Trailblazers, he can just play so free, and he's a very good scorer. He's crafty around the net. So having him just play loose is going to be awesome for them. And an underrated pickup for them, well, Yusuf Nurkic is just awesome. I love Nurkic.
Yeah, he is good.
Underrated pickup for them, they grabbed Seth Curry. And Seth Curry can ball. He's not his brother, but he's a really good player off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team's pretty complete. They did lose Ed Davis to us, which the players in the locker room all tweeted about how sad they were to lose him.
Yeah,
But
he's an underrated player.
very good guy, cleans up the glass, does all the dirty work. But overall, I like that roster. So I have them at 10. At 9, I have the Bucks. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is unbelievable. Chris Middleton's a budding star. I think when he's healthy, you're going to see a lot from Chris Middleton. I really like Chris Middleton. I like Tony Snell. Dante DiVincenzo is another good player from Villanova. I like him. Ilyasova's back on the Bucks. He's good. Connington's a decent player out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They have some players. And I like this makeup of this team, and I just think Giannis Antetokounmpo right now is still an A- LeBron James, and that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. And he keeps getting better too.
Like, if he develops a three, then it's over.
Yeah.
Then the Bucks are winning a championship in the next 4 years.
Yeah, he doesn't have like a knockdown three now, but like his rookie year, he was a god awful 3-point shooter. Now he's like, but like I think he's trending in the right direction.
And I forgot about John Henson, who is a legitimate defensive juggernaut at center and also can score. So I like the Bucks makeup. I think they're similar to the Jazz, where if a top tier team is sleeping, they'll beat them in a best of 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have the Thunder here over at 8. I'm a Russell Westbrook fan, a massive one. I think he is the closest thing in terms of attitude and personality that we've seen to Kobe Jordan. Just the way he wants to win in the drive and how he hates everybody on the court. He's not friends with anyone unless they're on his team.
Yeah.
I love that about him. I like Paul George. The Hamdou Diallo, I like him. He's a rookie they picked up out of Kentucky. I think he can be a player. Patrick Patterson's decent. Steven Adams a monster. Dennis Schroeder's a nice pickup. I like Dennis Schroeder as the pickup as the backup point guard. That's really going to benefit them, especially with Westbrook being hurt. And I just think he's that good of a player that he brings the Thunder up. Regardless of what happens, he's going to make sure they win 50-plus games.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I feel about him. And sitting at my 6 is much higher than you, the Los Angeles Lakers. This is my LeBron effect.
Yep.
Actually, no, I lied. This is the Jazz. The Jazz are sitting at 7. I have them lower than you. I like the Jazz. I love Donovan Mitchell, but it's just something about this team that tells me that they're not going to be able to get it done when it matters. Not yet. They need to give Donovan Mitchell somebody else, and I'm waiting on that guy. So that's where I am with them, that they don't have that second superstar. It's the only thing that gives me pause about the Jazz right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we're going to get on to the Lakers. The Lakers, it's the LeBron effect. I think you put LeBron on any team, and they automatically become a championship contender, and the Lakers are no exception. Really high on Kuzma. I love Kyle Kuzma. I like Brandon Ingram. I think that as long as Ball continues to develop, he could be a nice guard, and Rondo is really going to show him how to be a really good point guard that can't shoot.
Yeah,
Like
I think that is a good mentor.
Similar players, both see the floor very well, both can get to the rim and finish it really well. Neither of them could shoot. That's a very good mentor for him. And like I said, this is really just predicated on LeBron James is that damn good. And he's going to make sure that they're up there. I picked them to go to the conference finals. I think that the Lakers are in the conference finals this year.
Yep.
And my 5, you talked about them. You said nothing wrong. The 76ers are awesome. They're a good team. They have a lot of good budding stars. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are the two faces of the NBA once LeBron leaves. And they're just really good. I like Redick. I love Dario Saric. I think he's the unsung hero of that team.
Yeah, he was great. I think that Sam Hinkie, like as much as people give him like shit for, he did it. He found some decent players because he got Saric in that draft and like stashed him over in Europe, and like he found some of that talent on that roster.
Yeah, and also Robert Covington's an underrated guy too.
Yeah,
he's
he got him.
Guy that is a very good player.
You got McConnell, who's like not a bad backup point guard. Like
exactly. So I like the makeup of the 76ers, and I think that they're another team that they were pissed because they got exposed by the Celtics last year in the playoffs. They're going to make moves. They're going to make moves to get some more shooters because they need to. But actually, not to get shooters. They need to have someone that can create their own shot. They don't have that guy yet.
Yeah,
Markel Fultz is supposed to be that guy, but they need that guy.
I think they might try to get Butler. We'll see if that happens.
They should.
Yeah.
Because he has the swagger, and this team is all about swagger. So I think he'd fit.
Yeah.
All right, so grinding out to our top 4. We both have the Rockets here. Now, what do you like about the Rockets do you think that Melo is going to fit in with this team?
No. I don't. So I don't love him as a replacement to like Ariza, because I think like Ariza fit in well. Like Ariza, like as he was like 0 for 10 or whatever in Game 7, but traditionally he was like a good 3-point shooter and he played defense. And I think that's what I liked about Ariza, and what I liked about the Rockets was that they were able to switch more on defense. That they had a lot of good defenders. Like you had Chris Paul, you have Capella, like Ariza was there, and like even if Harden was a great defender, like you had a lot of defenders around him, and like you have Melo, and he's like a turnstile on defense. And
is there something to be said about the fact that Melo already knows D'Antoni's system, and he is absolutely still one of the best shooters in the game?
I guess I don't know. I'm like, I always keep thinking like these past couple of years, like Melo, like he hasn't met my expectations. I mean, these past couple of years, so like I'm through like having much hope for him at this point.
See, I think that Melo's going to fit in well. I think everyone's going nuts about it for no reason. As long as Chris Paul is healthy, which is going to be a big factor.
That's going to be a big factor.
If he's healthy, this team is really good, and I think that they can jump into the top 3 if he's healthy.
And Schroeder was a good pickup from the Hawks, like as a backup behind him.
Schroeder he's not on the whatchamacallit, the Rockets.
Oh, he's on the Thunder, sorry.
Yeah.
Wrong team.
Yeah, his backup I think right now is Brandon Knight. And also, You know what I just saw? I'm looking up at the roster right now. Gerald Green, who had a great year last year, played really well. It's been 11 seasons since the Nets brought him up from the D-League and turned him into an NBA player. How ridiculous is that?
He had the sickest dunk I've ever seen when he was on the Nets. Like,
and just to think, like without the New Jersey Nets, we wouldn't know Gerald Green.
He had that dunk on the Nets where his head was like over the rim. It was like one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
He was so bouncy. So what are your chances that you think the Rockets end up beating the Warriors and coming out of the West?
Not that high. I put it somewhere between 10 and 15%.
All right. So we're going to jump into our top 3 now, which we also have the same. I don't think we have anything flipped here. Number 3 is the Raptors, and I got to come out right away and say this. Can everybody stop pretending that Kawhi Leonard isn't by far head and shoulders the best player in the Eastern Conference right now? And it's not close.
I agree with that.
We didn't see him play for a year, so everyone forgets that he was the second best player in the world, probably when healthy, even ahead of Durant in my eyes, because he plays really good defense.
Yeah. I read like a really good piece like 2 years ago, and like it really like that was a year that like Westbrook won MVP and he averaged a triple-double. Yeah. And Zach Lowe, who I think is one of the best basketball writers I know,
awesome. Love to have him on this podcast at some point.
He wrote a super convincing like piece on why, like, despite the triple-double, that like Kawhi should have been MVP, and like he had like all his advanced stats and like how much better like Spurs were with him on the court versus off the court. And, like even you saw it last year, like they went from 61 wins to 47 wins. Like, and
we can forget about the metrics. The last time we saw him really play for the Spurs were ready to beat the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
All the momentum was on the Spurs side because Kawhi Leonard, the moment he went out of that series, the Spurs were washed. They couldn't.
Yeah, I'm super high on him. He might be equal to like DeRozan as a scorer, but like he is night and day different than DeRozan on the defensive side.
He's better than DeRozan as a scorer. I'm sorry. He is a better scorer than DeRozan. He has a back-to-the-basket game down low. He's stronger. He's more physical, a reliable 3, a mid-range guy. He's a complete player.
DeRozan doesn't really have the 3 that as much.
Yeah, and when you look at his supporting cast, Danny Green is a really good veteran.
Yeah, I love the Danny Green. I love that they got Danny Green that pick
Yeah.
in that trade.
Valanciunas is a very good center. I love OJ Anunoby. I don't want to say his name, but I like him.
Yeah, I wanted Nets to draft him, but I'm happy with Jared Allen. But he was like number one on who I wanted them to draft.
CJ Miles is good. Serge is still good. Ibaka's just doing things quietly. Fred Van Vliet's an annoying player, but he's awesome.
Yeah.
And Kyle Lowry is a legitimate star. He has as good of a supporting cast around him as he's ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very high on them. I think I would say at least 50-50 that they could get past the Celtics, who I have number 2. We both have number 2. I think they could get out of the East.
I could have flipped this, and I flipped this a few times before I actually put this in. I had the Raptors second a while. It's just the history of the Raptors franchise. That's the only bottom line that
always weighs on you. But I also think that LeBron was like a big mental block for them. Like every time they got to LeBron in the playoffs, they're like, "Is LeBron James? We can't get past LeBron."
But the funny thing is that they could play LeBron now, and Kawhi is the rare guy that guards LeBron and affects him.
Yeah, he is.
He's not afraid of LeBron. And he has no problem being guarded by him. They would. Yeah, they would. So we talked about number 2. We both have the Celtics at number 2. And even though we both like the Raptors, what else can you say about the Celtics? They are the deepest team in the NBA besides the Warriors. And that's not even an argument.
Yeah.
They, besides Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward's going to get healthy and he's a star. Marcus Morris is a scorer. Scary Terry is friggin' awesome, and I want a Scary Terry shirt, even though I hate Boston.
Yeah.
Al Horford's a beast. Brown and Tatum are 2 of the best young stars in the game. You could just continue to go down the line, and even their friggin' backup guys are talented players.
Yeah.
This is a deep team. Very deep.
They are very good, and I don't know how Al Horford stays so good. Like he keeps aging, but his game just seems like it never ages. Like he's just like reliable. And then you have, like you said, you have Tatum and Brown who's just going to keep getting better. And I can't see why Kyrie would want to leave this.
And I just had the last podcast I just had was Nick Gelso. He was owner, founder, CLNS Media Network, which is over there in Boston, and he specifically covers the Celtics.
Yes.
And we talked about this, and he was talking, I brought up Al Horford, and we were just talking about how he's such a rock. He's such a rock for that team, and on offense, his passing is so underrated. He played point guard a lot last year. It was insane.
Yeah, he's I feel like he's a Swiss Army knife. The guy could do everything. He defends, he could pass, he could score. He could do so much.
He's kind of the Chris Bosh of this team, if you're going to look at it in any way, where he does everything, but he doesn't get noticed for anything.
Yeah, I can understand that analogy. Mm-hmm.
All right, and then last but not least, this should come as a surprise to no one. If we didn't have them on this list where they are, then we'd be the worst list of all time.
Yeah.
Golden State Warriors historically have been my second favorite team in basketball. People want to call me a homer. I liked them when they were terrible. There's nothing to say about them. They're awesome. They're so deep. They're so good. They have 2 of the top 5 players on the planet on the team. What else are you going to do? What are you going to do against them?
I know. And then they added Cousins, so it's like –
And Cousins is kind of like a handicap. If he's good, great. If he's not, who cares? We're still going to win the championship.
I mean, if he doesn't come back – or if he comes back and he's not the same player, whatever. You still have enough talent. It's not like you're relying on him to take you over the hump. You're already over the hump.
Exactly. And, my interesting thing is after this year, Klay Thompson's a free agent. Kevin Durant's a free agent. Klay Thompson grew up in L.A. The Thompson family is super close in the Lakers organization. Wouldn't be surprised. There's rumors that Kevin Durant might go to L.A. My boy Scoopy Robinson dropped that rumor on Twitter.
Yep.
But I'm thinking there's a better chance Klay goes. That's my gut.
I could see Durant moving because I think –
Well, I don't think Durant's staying either. I don't.
I think Durant – everyone gives Durant a lot of criticism for going to the Warriors. He's the butt of all those jokes. There'll be award shows where people calling him out cowards, and the camera will pan to him, and he's so annoyed that I think he's very thin. He's an incredible player, but I think he's really thin-skinned, and a lot of the criticism for going to the Warriors gets to him. And I think he's going to want this free agency to go somewhere and to take over his team and really leave his legacy. So I could really see him leaving after this year. So,
I could see him, everyone says, why would he go home to Washington? Because that's a good team. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, if he does, you have arguably a top 3 backcourt with already, and then you add him in there, like, yeah, that's a very good team.
Yeah, and and we say that Durant has some thick skin, but let's also, take a step back. In this generation, they never stop hearing the criticism. They go home and they never stop hearing it. They turn on SportsCenter, it's there. They go on their Twitter, their Facebook, it's all there.
Yeah, the social media is so
Where
present.
back in the day, the biggest guy getting ripped could go home and turn it off.
Yeah,
he didn't have to watch TV that day. You know what I mean? Like, he can too, but it's such a part of our lives that he's hearing it 24/7. Yeah. So I kind of feel bad for the guy. I'm not going to lie. Not his money, but just him as a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But all right, that rounds out our list, and that's going to round out this podcast. Keegan, that was lots of fun, buddy.
Yeah, I had a great time.
I'd love to do it again.
Yeah, I'm hoping you enjoyed your first experience on a podcast, and I really appreciate you coming on here and bringing on the knowledge about the marathon. That should be a nice cautionary tale to anyone trying to run one.
Yes.
So once again, give any social media plugs for anyone that wants to go find you at all.
Yeah, so Tim Keegan, like I said, I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter as Tap Keegan. And the Keegan is Kegggan, as opposed to my last name, Keegan, which is Keegan. So, yeah, that's where you can find me.
All right, I'm Alex Cuesta, host of the Sports Opinions podcast. Once again, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @A_Cuesta30. Find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30 and on Instagram at SportsOpinions30. Visit the Facebook page for all past content. Go visit the blog and listen to us basically anywhere you can listen to a podcast: Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music. Once again, Tim, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, this is awesome.
All right, and this was the Sports Opinions podcast. Everybody have a good one.